This is the main fuser drive gear from a Samsung printer, and despite how random it may seem, it actually pertains to my life far more than initially meets the eye. For starters, I work in IT here in Arizona, where I live with my wife and two kids. I work in the IT department of a large hospital where I work on computers and printers and try to help solve problems and provide solutions for the staff of that hospital. And the story with this, so it's a small part, costs about 375 new, and this little part is kind of a keystone or linchpin for the entire function of the printer. And when this goes bad, the printer can no longer print. And generally speaking, when a repair comes in and this part needs to be replaced, people tend to consider the printer end of life or no longer usable. But I, on the other hand, go through the effort of switching it out. Most people tend to call it a wash because the repair to replace this simple little set of gears takes about 8 hours of labor. The printer has to be taken about 95% of the way apart. All of the plastic paneling on the outside, all of the electronics need to come out, and just to replace this small little seemingly insignificant part. And this is what one of the things that sets me apart and acts as a defining characteristic of my life, is that I tend to go that extra mile. I have the persistence and the drive in most aspects of my life to go out and get what I want. That's true in my work. It's true in my relationships with family. It's true in other pursuits that I have in life, and also true in spiritual aspects of life as well. One of my favorite scriptures comes from the book of Helaman. It's in Helaman 5:12. It reads, "And now, my sons, remember that it is upon the rock of our Redeemer, who is Christ, the Son of God, that ye must build your foundation, that when the devil shall send forth his mighty winds, yea, his shafts in the whirlwind, yea, when all his hail and his mighty storm shall beat upon you, it shall have no power to drag you down to the gulf of misery and endless woe, because of the rock upon which ye are built, which is a sure foundation, a foundation whereon if men build, they cannot fall." I love this scripture because it teaches about persistence. It teaches about holding firm to the things that you know to be true. And I know that as I've done this throughout my life, as I've held on to desired, held on to drive, that it's brought me blessings. It's how I was able to convince my wife to marry me, and how I was able to pursue an education and overcome the roadblocks and stumbling blocks that stood in my way with that, and also how I'm able to hold this broken gear in my hand today and be able to say the Samsung 5012 that it came from is still running strong.